Here's what nobody tells you about raising kids in 2025. Your children are growing up in a world that's actively teaching them that family is negotiable. They're being discipled by a culture that says that families are oppressive, that blood doesn't matter as much as your chosen family, that you can ghost your parents when they don't affirm every decision that you've made. And here's the hard truth. If you don't show your kids why family is sacred, someone else is teaching them why it's disposable. I'm Steve, and this is the Crossthread Way, where I'm helping Christian fathers raise kids who can stand when the culture tries to make them kneel. And today, we're talking about one of the most countercultural messages that you can give your children, that family isn't just important, it's covenant. And whether your family feels like a blessing or a battlefield right now, God has something to say about why it matters. So let's get into it. I'm out here right now after a long day of work in our brand new shop, a shop that we're building because our garage is being turned into an in-laws suite for my wife's family. Guys, this episode is coming from my heart and right out of my own family's experiences. So let me be blunt. The world is raising your kids to be orphans with living parents. Think about what they're absorbing. Social media tells them if mom and dad don't validate their feelings 24/7, then they're toxic. Television show them families that are dysfunctional punchlines, and their friends talk about cutting off relatives like they're canceling a subscription service. And behind all of it is a philosophy that says that individual is supreme, that personal autonomy trumps all obligations, that you owe nothing to people who have given you everything. This isn't accidental. This is what spiritual warfare with a specific target looks like. And the target? Your family. The family that God designed is the primary context for discipleship, protection, and the transmission of the faith. Your kids are watching how you treat family. They're taking notes on whether you prioritize extended family gatherings or just let them slide. They're observing whether you speak about your own parents with honor or contempt. They're learning from you whether family commitments are sacred or just suggestions. Here's what's at stake. Malachi chapter 4, verse 6 says, "He will turn the hearts of fathers to their children and the hearts of children to their fathers, lest I come and strike the land with a degree of utter destruction." Did you catch that? When the generational bonds break down, when fathers and children turn away from each other, destruction follows. Not might follow, does follow. Family isn't just a nice idea, it's foundational structure for all of human flourishing that God himself instituted. When your teenager rolls their eyes at Thanksgiving dinner, when they complain about visiting grandparents, when they start using therapeutic language to justify distance from siblings, Dad, you're standing at a fork in the road. You can let culture disciple them into relational autonomy, or you can step up and show them that family is worth fighting for. Guys, if this is hitting home, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. We're building a community of fathers here who refuse to let the culture raise our kids. So hit the subscribe button and let's build the Crossthread Way together. Now, let's establish the theological foundation here, because if we don't ground this in Scripture, it's just sentimentality versus sentimentality. And culture is going to win the battle in that every time. Family isn't a social construct. It's not something humanity invented and can therefore reinvent. Family is a divine institution established by God before the fall, before sin entered the world, before there was any need for redemption. Genesis chapter 2, verse 24 establishes the pattern. "For this reason, a man shall leave his father and his mother, hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." You notice what's happening there? The nuclear family is formed from the extended family. There's leaving, yes, but there's severing. The command to honor father and mother doesn't expire when you get married. The obligation to the clan, the tribe, the multi-generational family of God actually does continue. And this matters because in Scripture, family is the primary context for three critical functions. First is the transmission of the faith. Deuteronomy 6 and 7. "These words that I commanded you today shall be in your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise." Faith is passed down in the context of daily family life, not just through programs and professionals. Second, the protection of the vulnerable. Throughout Scripture, caring for widows, orphans, and the elderly is a family responsibility first, then a church responsibility. 1 Timothy 5:8 doesn't mince words. "If anyone does not provide for his relatives, especially the members of his own household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever." Worse than an unbeliever, Dad. That's how serious family obligation is. Third, the display of the gospel. Ephesians chapter 5 and 6 show us that family relationships are meant to be an image of Christ in the church. Your marriage pictures Christ's love for his bride. Your fatherhood reflects God's fatherhood. Your children's obedience models our obedience to God. Family is theology that you can touch. Now, here's where this gets practical. When you show your kids why family is important, you're not just teaching them to be nice to relatives, you're giving them a biblical worldview that stands against the radical individualism that is destroying our culture. You're preparing them to value covenant over convenience, to honor commitments when feelings fade, to understand that love is more than emotion, it's obligation sanctified by grace. Your kids need to see you sacrificing for family. Driving 3 hours to help your aging father fix his deck, hosting the sister's kids when she needs a break, reconciling with your estranged brother because the gospel demands it. These aren't interruptions to discipleship. This is what discipleship looks like for you as a father with your children. So let's get granular here. How do you actually do this? How do you raise kids who see family as sacred when you're exhausted, when your extended family is messy, and when you're not even sure that you believe it yourself some days? Well, let me give you 3 practical takeaways here. Number 1, prioritize family presence over convenience. Your calendar tells your kids what you actually value. If family gatherings are always negotiable, always the first thing to cancel when sports or social plans conflict, your kids learn that family is optional. But when you guard things like Thanksgiving, when you show up to your nephew's graduation, when you make the effort to connect across generations, even when it's inconvenient, you're teaching them that some commitments do transcend comfort. This doesn't mean you're at every extended family event. It means you're intentional about which ones matter, and you protect those with the same energy that you protect your kids' playoff games. And here's the key. You got to explain why. We're going to Grandma's birthday because in this family, we honor people who have sacrificed for us. We show up. That's what we do. Number 2, speak honor over criticism. Now, this one's hard because many of us came from imperfect families. Shocking, I know. Your parents made mistakes, your in-laws have quirks that drive you crazy, your siblings have patterns that just frustrate you. But here's what your kids need to hear from you. Honor. Not dishonest flattery, but genuine appreciation for the good. Tell the stories about your grandfather's work ethic, celebrate your aunt's generosity, point out your brother's loyalty. When your kids hear you speak honor over your family, flaws and all, they learn that family isn't something that you discard when it disappoints you. Now listen, if there's real toxicity, real abuse, real danger, you got to protect your kids from that. But boundaries aren't dishonoring. Most of our family tensions aren't that, though. They're just a friction of broken people trying to love each other. Show your kids how to navigate that with grace, not ghosting. Number 3, create family rituals that tell the story. Your kids need more than lectures. They need experiences that embed the value of family deep in their bones. So create these rituals. Sunday dinners where the phones go away and everybody's present. Annual trips to visit your grandparents where the focus is connection, not entertainment. Family service projects where you serve together. And in these moments, tell the stories. Tell your kids about the grandmother who prayed them into existence, about the uncle who helped them when they had nothing, about the legacy of faith that runs through your family line. Make them feel part of something bigger than themselves, a multi-generational family that belongs to God. Because here's the truth. When your kids understand that you're not isolated individuals, but part of a covenant family that developed a rootedness that culture can't shake, they learn to value relationships over feelings, to fight reconciliation instead of fighting for isolation, and to see themselves as part of God's long story of redemption through your family line. Dad, I know this is hard, but maybe you came from a broken family and you're trying to build something different. Maybe your extended family is more trial than blessing some days. Maybe you're watching this and thinking, Steve, you have no idea what my family's like. You're right, I don't, but I know the God who redeems broken families. I know the gospel that turns orphans into sons. And I know that when you faithfully show your kids that family matters, you're giving them what culture can't offer, belonging. So here's your assignment this week. Do one thing that shows your kids that family is sacred. Call your dad, plan a visit to your grandparents, reconcile with your sister, write a letter thanking a family member for their influence, and invite your kids into it. Let them see you value the very thing that you're trying to teach them not to discard. And if you're in this fight with me, again, hit that subscribe button. We're building a movement of biblical fathers here who refuse to let culture raise our kids. So share this with another dad who needs it. Lock arms with them in this mission, because I can tell you this, guys, family is sacred ground. Show your kids why it matters. This is the Cross Thread way. Now get to work.